I was supposed to be on vacation last week, and I was, briefly, and then some stuff happened, but that's not the point. The point is, while I was on vacation, I had my time away set for longer shipping, and I decided to just take offers fairly indiscriminately when people made them. And so I kind of took some low offers, and I'll show you what I sold, and you can decide if it's worth selling a lot of stuff at low prices versus holding out for better prices. Okay, here we go. This is what sold as of July 28th, 2022. So, yet another one of these Disneyland postcard folder things. This one, I think the Haunted Mansion is probably the most desirable one, and this one did sell for, I want to say, in the $30 range, about $30. That wasn't necessarily a low offer. That was pretty good for this. And again, postcard folders, just stay away from them. They're horrible. But old Disneyland ones specifically will sell. And especially the Haunted Mansion seems to be the most popular. Some of the other attractions as well, like I sold a Tomorrow Wonderland last week or recently. So yeah, those. Okay, next. This is a beer label, and it sold for $8.07 to Australia. It's from South Africa. Super simple, just a beer label. Don't remember where I got this, probably in a lot of ephemera. This is some GIMP, it's called. It's upholstery braid. This is fairly vintage. It's 4 yards. I've had this listed for a really long time, actually. And I just decided, whatever. I mean, I only had it listed for $12.50. And I took an offer of $10.62. It's showing me the sold price. So maybe I sold this for $42.49. It's entirely possible. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, the GIMP. So this will sell eventually, but it's not a fast mover. And I honestly, when I find it, tend to use it for my own crafts more often these days. Okay, next, this is it's a postcard of a bridge, and it was found with a lot of of postcards that were all disasters. So I think maybe something bad's happening here, like the bridge is falling apart or it's being built. Not really sure, but whatever. I just listed it that way. And it's a RPPC, and there are some dudes down here in the water on this timber. Yeah, it looks like they're like shoring up something. Anyway, it's not in the best condition. Note that corner and that corner, but it sold for $15.73, and I really should have put the keyword disaster in here. I think people do collect disaster postcards, and I did for most of the lot of these, but for this one I forgot for some reason. And you can see it's a real photo postcard. It has somebody's name stamped on the back. That's about it. Okay. These are Cinderella stamps, or they're American Lung Association, like Christmas seals, one calls them. They're silver, shiny, from, I don't know what year these are. 1991. They're not even old. So, I guess that's vintage now. And there's some sticky to from labels. So these sold for $9.50, and these things are weird. Like, they sell, especially when you have a full sheet, but not that fast. I just sold some more this week, or like yesterday or something, that I haven't shipped out yet, that sold for more. They're a more obscure charitable organization, and they're older. So, I got a bunch of these somewhere, and I listed them, and they have slowly been selling, usually for more than this. They're usually older. So that's a thing. Ish. Okay, next. I actually bought like 5 or 6 of these books at Savers of all places. They're different areas of Maine, these booklets, so Maine place names and peopling of its towns. And this is for York County and Oxford County, which is kind of Oxford County. I think I drove through there on my so-called vacation that only lasted a day. Anyway, these have been selling pretty well. Between this one sold for $17. Some have sold more, like $22, $24. I got them for $2.99 each at Savers, and they're just kind of obscure and useful if you live in these places and interesting. So that's a thing to look out for. I always look at the little tiny, teeny section of old books at Savers because I often find pretty cool things there. Next. Okay, these are some red pencils, vintage. And the person who bought these had the last name of Linton, strangely enough. So that's why these sold. I find that, red and blue and green pencils they're not colored pencils made for drawing. Those sell a lot slower than regular pencils. Like these are made for probably a teacher to mark up papers or to do editing or whatever. But these sold to someone named Linton, which is cool because this is a really nice little design on the cardboard thing. So hopefully they will enjoy this little set of pencils. I got these at an estate sale with a bunch of old office/art supplies, which are always a good thing to pick up. And it's weird, the name Linton, I immediately think of Wuthering Heights, and don't know why my point is. Okay, here is a record. This is Desi Arnaz, and this I've had listed for quite some time, but it did sell for $44, so that's very exciting. And by record, I mean 78 record. One of these shellac dealies. It's not in the best condition, but it's, playable and everything. I mean, aesthetically, it's not in the best condition. It's fine though. And yeah, so lots of fun for someone's gramophone. All right, this item is sort of interesting just because, there's this whole issue with eBay at some point disallowed the selling of racist Black Americana items. And on the surface, that seems entirely like a reasonable thing to do. We should not, promote racism. However, generally people collected it for non-racist reasons. A lot of Black Americans collect it as a study of the past or to as a sort of never forget kind of thing. And it's, collected by academics. People are researching this stuff, studying the history. So there's a lot of legit reasons why people would buy such a thing, but eBay made the decision not to let us sell it, and that's fine. But I do find there are things that are old from the same era that are not necessarily racist depictions that you can still sell. And so this is one of those items. This is, an image of the South picking cotton, and it's probably from about 1910. It's, perhaps not colorized the most sensitively, but it's generally just a manipulated photograph, and doesn't have an offensive caption or whatever. So it's really just a historical document without serious overtones. And that said, it's a very interesting image of this family, presumably out in the cotton fields, and they may be sharecroppers. Who knows? They may own the farm. We don't know. But this sold for $16.50, and I just wanted to sort of point it out as an image of Black American history that you can still sell on eBay. So there's that. Next. Some American Red Cross buttons. These are from a World War II women's uniform. I bought a sort of shoebox or cigar box size box of Red Cross buttons at an estate sale maybe last year, and I've been selling them slowly in small lots, usually trying to research where the buttons came from if possible before listing them, like what kind of uniform they were on or whatever. So these sold for $25, and I think that's a pretty good sale. I mean, I bought the whole box for, I think, $50 or $60, which seemed like a little bit of a gamble, but there's zillions more buttons in there for me to sell, so I think it's okay. All right, next. This is a postcard of Baltimore. It says, before the fire of 1904, which I didn't even know about, so that was a little interesting piece of history. It's just the skyline and the dockyards and stuff. It's a pretty interesting view if you're, from Baltimore. It has a lot of details. You can see this has a name on a sign here for this coal yard, and there's like a paddle boat over here. I think this sign is probably also readable. So it's a pretty interesting image. This sold for $15. This is an undivided back postcard. It's not a real photo though. It's just a printed postcard. It's pretty nice. Next. Now this has been listed for ages. I want to say like 3 years, 4 years, I don't know. And I have a few of them. It's Birds in Nature magazine. I don't know why that little piece of paper is in my photo. That is a misstep for sure. I don't think it's really on there. This is from 1904, and it does have some cool ads in it, and it also has color plates of birds and butterflies and such things. I mean, it's a pretty nice little publication. I'm actually surprised these didn't go faster, but I didn't, and I took an offer on this. Next, another 78. This one sold for $24.50. I don't have much to say about it, except that, 78s, they're great. They don't sell super fast, but they do sell, mostly. So the next three are actually all went to the same buyer, which is why I took such low offers, also because of the condition issues. So I didn't know these existed until I found them. These are Hebrew Jewish New Year cards made by Tux. And I don't know if I have shown any of these before. I probably have about 10 or had total. So there's that one, and then there's that one, and there's this one. And I think what's kind of interesting is that I think that what went on here is that Tux designed cards for whatever purpose. Like this one looks like Easter maybe, and repurposed the ones they could with Jewish New Year's messages. Because there's some that definitely look like Christmas or New Year's, and there's others that just, this is just generic. But they put the Hebrew New Year's greeting on here. So these three, I took offers of $6.50 and $7 each on these to the same buyer. Like this one, the corners are chipped. This one has a huge missing corner. This one is kind of dirty. But other than that, I don't know how rare they are, but it was the first time I found them was when I found these recently-ish. Like maybe, I don't know, the past 6 months at a, not an auction, but a sale that they were having at a place that does auctions. And so that's something to look out for. I think if they're in better condition, you could market them better and get at least $24 for these individually. So yeah, something to look for. next, this is a miniature Bible, and this is another category of things to look for. These tend to sell, especially if they're pocket size or smaller, but like usable, like have type that isn't super microscopic. Actually, this type's pretty small, but yeah, these old Bibles that are small tend to do pretty well. This one sold for $18.50. I don't even have a date for it. It doesn't seem to have one in there. This could be anywhere from like, I don't know, 1880s to 1940s. I would take a wild guess. I mean, they're not very, it's pretty generic. It does have a leather cover, but it is really worn. Though it has like good structural integrity, it's just not in the best shape. And yeah, so that sold for $18.50. This is a cool item. This is just a photograph. Here's the whole thing. Let me blow it up for you. And so this is just a woman in the park feeding the pigeons. You can sort of tell by her outfit that it's the 20s, and there's this man kind of looking at her, and this old tree ladder. I don't know if that's like an apple tree or just somebody's pruning it or what. And the cool thing is that this actually has a caption on the back that says, Miss Purkis, after Halifax something, on way back to England. I guess that's vacation? Week, maybe. I don't know. After Halifax something, on way back to England. Cheers, pip pip, Kings. You know what? I figured out what this said before. Now I don't know. But anyway, it's St. John's, New Brunswick. King Square. I guess. King Square. And so I marketed this as a found photo, which is something I do when I find a really cool photo that's just sort of slipped through the cracks of time and is interesting. So I don't know if the person bought this just because they liked it aesthetically. I mean, it's just a snapshot from the 20s. It's that typical size. I don't know if they bought it because they like the photo, they like pigeons, they like this old view of King Square in St. John, New Brunswick. The name Purkis meant something to them. I don't know why it sold, but it's just kind of an interesting tactic for selling old photos individually instead of in lots. Here are, look, it's something three-dimensional, not made out of paper. These are Canonsburg pottery Temperana 10-inch dinner plates, and there's 3 of them. This is what the mark looks like on the back. They're like mid-century. They're not super old. They do have this atomic design that's kind of like the Franciscan ware one, except, it's different. But it has that same kind of feel. It's a cool design. And there's a whole, they made lots of stuff with this pattern, all kinds of dishware. But I found these somewhere. I don't remember. It might have been a thrift store. It might have been an estate sale. But anyway, I picked these up for, I don't know, $1 or $2 a piece. And there were actually 4, but one had a horrible crack in it, which may be my fault. Or I might have it was probably my fault. I might have been there and I didn't notice it, which is also my fault. So it was a set of 4, but it became a set of 3, and it sold for $40, so that's okay. So yeah, this is a pattern to look out for. It's something people collect, and it's nice. So there you go. More beer labels. So this one and this one and this one all sold to the same person. They're all the same brand of beer. These are from, I don't know where. South Africa again. Yeah. So yeah, I bought a bunch of South African beer labels at some point. Not that, I don't know, like a dozen or something. But these have been selling slowly but surely. So that one $9.50, that one $12.50, that one $9.50, all the same buyer. I forget where. Probably in the US. Here is a little enamel pin for the 533rd Engineers Detachment. This is just something I picked up in a lot of various pins and jewelry, and I, Googled till I figured out what it was, and it sold for $15. I don't think it's, real gold or anything. Look at the back, it's not real gold. I don't know how old it is, but, it's specific and someone was looking for it. This is a button, like a sewing button. That's what the back looks like. It has an applied plastic shank, and it is plastic. It's an early plastic, and it's kind of an unusual shape and design for a button. Sold for $10 after having been listed for, I don't know, years, a long time. This is one of, the oldest listings for buttons I had, I think, and that finally sold, so that was exciting. I think it's a really nice button. Don't see those too often. Anyway, here's a piece of sheet music, which sold for $15.54. Offer down from $18.50, or maybe, no, it was on sale, actually. I take it back. But it still sold for $15.54, and I think this is really kind of funny. O'Brien is trying to learn to talk Hawaiian. I'd play that song if I still had a piano, which I don't. Anyway, not in perfect condition, but totally serviceable as sheet music, and the cover has this picture. I don't know what to say about it. It's a little weird. Okay. Next, this is very, very fabulous. So this is a large map of Mount Auburn Cemetery, which is the first garden cemetery in America, which is, that was a thing Victorians did, was build garden cemeteries and then took picnics in them and hung out there and stuff because they were into cemeteries and death. And, Queen Victoria was like the world's first goth. I never really thought about that. She totally was. Anyway, Byron was probably the world's first. Well, I don't know. Anyway, Victorians like cemeteries, and this one is particularly gorgeous. It's in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I encourage you to visit it if you ever have a chance. It's really nice. But this is a map of it, and it is actually from 1857, and it's it has a map maker here, a draftsperson, and it's got all the graves and the ponds and the tower and all the things you would want. This is not a farm anymore. But anyway, I bought this at an auction for $5, which is crazy, right? It was in just a big piece of cardboard in a plastic bag, and it was inserted in there, and it was facing backwards, and nobody saw it in the preview. And it came up, and nobody could really tell what it was, and they didn't really do a good job saying what it was, and I like totally had my eye on it and bid $5, and no one else bid, and then I got it, and then I sold it for an offer of $100 plus shipping. And I maybe could have held out for more, but I was like, you know what, that's fine. So I sold it for $100 to somebody who was like really keen on it and messaged me a kind of remarkable number of times for no reason. But anyway, so yeah, that's this map. It has, these are the condition issues I pointed out. It's in really good shape, like it had never been folded. It did have these two tiny little holes, but otherwise it was great. It was like totally unwrinkled, and anyway, yeah, map. So that was cool. And then from the sublime to the ridiculous, here's a silly postcard that I think this sold for like $6 or something, but you know, I had it, so I listed it, and it's just silly. You know, crazy cat lady stuff. Yep. Here is a travel brochure. I just sold off like a bazillion of these on Whatnot, like ones that were newer, and that was fun. I totally like lost my voice because I made such big lots and I was talking about each one. Anyway, so this is an older, nicer one. This is from the 30s, and it's just a brochure about Vermont. It has some nice illustrations, and yeah, took an offer of $9 because I was taking offers. This is a postcard of Ras Al Khaimah, Ras Al Khaimah, in the UAE, and it's a modernish chrome. I mean, like, what, 70s or something? Let's look at the back. I don't know, 70s or 80s probably. Maybe a little older. That looks like an old-fashioned logo. But anyway, it's, you know, a chrome fisherman, and that sold for an offer of $8.39. No, not an offer. It was on sale. I also had a sale while I was away. So that's cool. That's like list your chromes, especially if they're of unusual places. I find like the Middle East and North Africa, you just don't get as many postcards, so sometimes it's good to list them. Next, another postcard. This is the Natural History Rooms in Marlborough, Massachusetts. This is, you know, a pretty old one. Look at the back. It's probably, what, 1910-ish? Oh, look, that's what I wrote. Good. I'm glad I'm consistent. So this one is one that, you know, I listed and I was like, I don't know if anyone would ever want that, but somebody did. So that was cool. Next, this is more sewing buttons. These are not that old. They are probably, I don't know, mid-century, 40s, could be 30s, could be 60s. I don't really know, but that's what the backs look like. One of them has got some corrosion on it, and I just listed them for I listed them for $14.50. They sold on sale for $12.18. That's fine with me. These were not uncommon, but you know, they're pretty. Next, another record. Wow. This one, ink spots. You will find a lot of ink spots records. These are sort of like the later time, later period of 78 popularity, and the ink spots were super popular, and I like any big blob of 78 records I find usually has some ink spots. Anyway, this one I had up for $12.50. I had it on sale and sold it for $10.50. And that's all there is to say about it. Here's an issue of Boy's Life from 1971. There's a typo in this. I think my former assistant did that. Pining for gold. Pinning for gold. Really, they're panning for gold, but, you know, whatever. This took a long time to sell, and it eventually sold for $12.50. Again, these might be better to cut up and sell the ads than to try to sell as magazines themselves, but I already listed them, so we'll just leave them for now. Next, this is kind of interesting. This is a Bible stick. And basically it's a little MP3 player that has the New Testament preloaded on it, and it's divided into little sections such that you can get through the whole New Testament in some certain number of days with your little plan. And I don't know. But I found these. This is what the outside looks like. This is the military edition of the Bible stick. And I found these at the bins, actually, and I just bought like a big bag of them. They appear to be new. That's what it looks like inside. They come with a battery and headphones and the little instructions about how to do your study in the right amount of time. And they're super light, so I think like a bag of however many of these cost a couple bucks, and they've been selling slowly. I have them listed for $18.99. This one's sold on sale for $16.14, and I think if they weren't the military edition, they would go a lot faster. Like, somebody asked me if I had them in white, which I don't, and said they would buy a lot if I did, but I don't. So that's a kind of interesting, I guess, bolo, though don't ask me where you get these normally. I mean, I think these were given away to the military by a charitable organization, but didn't get given away, so they ended up in the bins. Yeah. So that's something to kind of look for. Here's something to not look for: Garfield postcards. I mean, you can if you want, but I have way too many Garfield postcards. I really should lot them. Anyway, this one I have listed for $12.50, and it's sold on sale for $10.62. And like I say, this is the classic. I think like this is like the quintessential Garfield. Have a nice day. Yeah, Garfield. Garfield. Next. This is just a trade card, and it's sold on sale again. This is not a super uncommon one, I don't think. It's a white sewing one, but it does have this cute urchin with the umbrella, and that's what the back looks like. So 1880s, decent shape. And that's that. Here's another thing you probably don't want to sell. At some point I decided to list a whole bunch of stamp blocks that are like mid-century and not worth anything. And so like I had this listed for $1.99 and it's sold on sale for $1.69. Like, it's not worth my time, but at some point I decided to do that. I think that was, I don't know, some time ago. I do not recommend it. And I actually found that stamps, like this era, like stamp blocks, if they're like pretty, they sell better on Etsy. But I also just got an email recently from Etsy saying something about not selling stamps, and I gotta look into that, about monetary, like maybe it's uncanceled stamps that are usable you can't sell. I'm not really sure what the deal is. I need to look into it, but beware, there is something on Etsy, and you probably don't want to sell these anyway. Okay, and finally, this is an ad for cigarettes. Probably took too low an offer on this, which I took an offer of $10, I think, because this one, first of all, is from 1920. It's very colorful, and it has multiple attractive qualities, such as, well, there's the cigarettes, and then there's the horse, and it's polo, and the man, the horse, the cigarette. So, yeah, I probably should have held out more for full price, or at least the sale price on this, but I didn't, so there you go. And that is my, what sold while I was sort of, but not really, on vacation and was taking low prices and had a sale and stuff. I know that's very specific and probably doesn't really have any application to your life, but perhaps seeing the things was interesting, and seeing what they sold for, what they were priced at, and deciding whether or not they are bolos or anti-bolos in your universe. All right. Hope that was helpful. Please do like and subscribe. Stand by for more content. And thank you and take care.